Mr. President, are we going to have
Well, I guess I'm not surprised that Biden doesn't remember me. I guess the question is what else has he forgotten? Biden's forgotten about the crisis at our southern border, I can tell you that. Biden has forgotten about the inflation that's biting the budgets of families all throughout our country. Biden has forgotten about the demonstrators who were fighting for freedom down in Cuba. And Biden's even forgotten about the Constitution itself, as we saw with what he did with this moratorium. And I can just tell you, I'm the governor who protects parents in their ability to make the right choices for their kids' education. I'm the governor who protects the jobs and education and businesses in Florida by not letting the federal government lock us down. I'm the governor who answers to the people of Florida, not to bureaucrats in Washington.
How you doing, people? I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report direct message for today, March 23rd, 2022. And yeah, that's right. That is my governor, Ron DeSantis, right here in the great, the free, and the flourishing state of Florida. And the elderly gentleman that we played before him, that's Joe Biden, the man pretending to be president of the United States, doesn't know who Ron DeSantis is, which it's either a joke or he honestly doesn't. The choice is yours. And DeSantis just smacked him down. So what we are going to do with the show today is a real compare and contrast of what we've done for the first 2 days this week, where on Monday and Tuesday this week, I think I did a pretty freaking good case, if I can pat myself on the back for just a moment, of how obvious it has become that the Democrats and the powers that be and their allies in the media and in big tech are honestly trying to destroy the United States of America. We went through all the policies, whether it's policing or immigration or the economy, culturally, all of the stuff. That's what we laid out for these first 2 days this week. And today, we're going to contrast that with what's going on right here in Florida. Because in Florida, we are standing up for America. We're standing up for freedom and for liberty. And it's being led by that guy right there. Because, you know, what I always say to you guys is we just need hope. America is an idea. And it's an idea based on hope, right? Hope that people can live freely. It's not just the default position that people will live free. There's a lot of bad people out there. There's a lot of bad ideas out there. Human history is littered with authoritarian leaders who crush down on people who want to live freely and want to use their minds and flourish and live the way they want to live, right? And we're seeing that all over the world right now, right? Joe Biden yesterday, the clip we started the show with yesterday, he's ushering in a new world order and he hopes that America will lead it. We'll see about that. I mean, I have a small feeling that China has another idea on that one. I don't want the new world order. What I want is freedom. And what I want is happening right here in Florida. And we're going to lay out a freaking case today. I've been a prosecutor all week. I was prosecuting Joe Biden for the first 2 days this week. Well, now we're going to do a little defense. He doesn't need my defense, actually, but it's going to be a defense of Ron DeSantis and really a model of how you do it right, which is a fine segue to remind you that the Don't Burn This Country book tour is coming. And the first 3 stops are right here in Florida. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be in Orlando on April 18th. Special guest announced soon. April 19th in West Palm Beach. Special guest announced soon. Clearwater, Florida on April 20th with Benny Johnson. April 21st in Raleigh, North Carolina with Andrew Klavan from the Daily Wire. April 22nd with the Willy Wonka of politics, Michael Malice. April 23rd in Chicago, guest announced soon. April 24th in Dallas, Texas with my man Glenn Beck. April 25th in Washington, D.C. We're going to the swamp with Meghan McCain. April 26th in West Nyack, New York with Megyn Kelly. May 11th, Brea, California with Dennis Prager. May 12th, Oxnard, California with Larry Elder. May 15th, San Jose, California, guest announced soon. May 16th, Phoenix, Arizona with the next senator from the great state of Arizona, Blake Masters. And May 18th, Denver, Colorado, guest announced soon. You can get your tickets, and the VIP tickets are all going real fast. So you may want to jump on that, daverubin.com/events. And as I said, I am going to be laying out a case I've got paper in front of me, okay? We printed words on paper, okay? I've got a Sharpie. It's a big show, people. We're going to be laying out a case that freedom can be fought for, and there's a way to do it, and this is the home of freedom, and you just need good people to stand up. Real quick, before we get to that, I want to talk to you guys about Cozy Earth. You know, if you appreciate the softness and comfort of truly luxury bedding, you're going to love today's sponsor, Cozy Earth. I seriously, seriously love this brand. Cozy Earth is renowned for offering the softest, most luxurious, environmentally friendly, and ethically produced bedding today. So it's not surprising that Cozy Earth has received thousands of 5-star ratings, like this recent review from Carol. Who'd ever think a set of sheets would make a difference in how you sleep? The first night I used the sheets, I slept straight through, and every night since, no more overheating, waking, tossing, and turning, just incredible sleep. Cozy Earth sheets are made from the finest luxury materials, including soft viscose from highly sustainable bamboo, and their bedding is not only super soft, lightweight, and breathable, but also temperature regulating, so you sleep at the perfect temperature year round. The sweatpants are awesome too. Cozy Earth even offers a 100-night sleep trial, which means you have up to 100 nights to sleep on it, wash it, and try it out. If you're not completely in love, just send it back for a full refund, and for a limited time, you can save 35% on Cozy Earth. Just go to CozyEarth.com/Dave and enter Dave at checkout to save 35% right now. That's CozyEarth.com/Dave, and be sure to enter Dave at checkout for 35% off. And now back to me. Okay, for 2 days, I have laid out the case that Joe Biden and the Democrats want to destroy America. They either want to destroy America, and that is the goal, or these are the most inept buffoons in the history of government. And I don't just mean American government. I mean any government of all time, anywhere on earth. Everything that they are doing is destroying America. Economically, culturally, philosophically, everything that they are doing. Just look. You don't even need me to tell you. Look at the price of goods. Look at the supply chain. Look at foreign policy, gas, the whole thing. You guys all get it. But it's being done right here in Florida. And this is what I want to reverberate throughout the country, that there is a way to do it right. And Ron DeSantis is the guy who's doing it right. So first off, we did a whole bunch over the last 2 weeks on Florida Bill HB 1557, which the media repeatedly was calling the Don't Say Gay bill, even though the word gay is not in the bill and it had nothing to do with homophobia or discrimination. In essence, as you guys know, the bill was about not allowing teachers, meaning government employees, to talk to kindergartners through 3rd grade about gender identity or sexuality, which is not something that anyone other than a parent should be talking to a kid about, especially at that age. And kids certainly aren't thinking of those things at that age. But the media went bananas. Ron DeSantis is a homophobe. Florida is going to hunt down the gays. All the usual nonsense. Well, Ron DeSantis is just fighting back. He's just fighting back. Clip 1.
And so I would just tell people it's a free country. Do what you believe in. But understand, if you are out protesting this bill, you are by definition putting yourself in favor of injecting sexual instruction to 5, 6, and 7-year-old kids. I think most people think that's wrong. I think parents especially think that's wrong.
Yes, most people do think it's wrong. And although the amorphous mob runs through Twitter and the blue check wackadoodles and, journalists, whatever you want to call them, are all calling him a homophobe and saying this is backwards, we all know. Everyone knows you don't want anyone. Why would you want a state employee or anyone other than a parent discussing with a 6-year-old, a 1st grader, gender identity, and then being able to hide that from the parent? The bill actually is mostly about transparency, that you wouldn't hide things from parents, that parents have a right to know what's going on in school. So he's pushing back. And not only is he pushing back, but then he had a sit down with the CEO of Disney and basically told the Disney guy to take a walk, which is not an easy thing for a governor of Florida to do because, Disney is here in Orlando, a lot of employees and everything else. But as DeSantis pointed out, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the people who bring the kids to Disney are parents, and you may be careful, you may be playing with fire here. And now Disney has in essence, they have a shitstorm on their hands because you've got the CEO sort of saying, we don't know what to do. We're going to pull money out of Florida. And the employees are saying, you're still not pro-gay enough for us or whatever it is. But DeSantis is continuing because, the other story this week is that there was this big women's 500-yard freestyle swimming championship. And it was won by a biological male by the name of Lia Thomas. Okay, this is someone who was something like 450th in men's swimming who decided to transition. And you know my position on this. If an adult wants to do anything with their life, live how they wish, change their name, wear whatever they want, that's fine once you're an adult. It's a different thing when you're a kid. But in essence, Lia Thomas is a biological male with biological male genitals. I will leave it at that. The girls are now seeing that in the locker room, who won first place. But DeSantis, he ain't putting up with that either.
If you look at what the NCAA has done by allowing basically men to compete in women's athletics, in this case the swimming, you had the number one woman who finished was from Sarasota, Emma Weyant. She won the silver medal. She's been an absolute superstar her whole career. And she had the fastest time of any woman in college athletics. Now, the NCAA is basically taking efforts to destroy women's athletics. They're trying to undermine the integrity of the competition, and they're crowning somebody else the women's champion. And we think that's wrong. And so in Florida, I'm going to be later. This is a Floridian who I think deserves to be recognized. We're going to be doing a proclamation saying that Emma is the best female swimmer in the 500-meter freestyle because she earned that. And we need to stop allowing organizations like the NCAA to perpetuate frauds on the public. And that's exactly what they're doing. They are putting ideology ahead of opportunity for women.
Guys, what do I say every single day now? When someone's telling the truth, they're telling the truth. And because we live in such a time of lies, it's actually it's a relief. It's a release off your chest, isn't it? When you hear someone tell the truth and say the thing that we all know that is obvious, even though most people won't say it. And not only is he saying it, he is a man of his word because he did release the proclamation. And good for Emma. Good for Emma. Emma, if you're watching, you are the best 500 swimmer in the state of Florida, maybe in the country. I don't know. You want to come on the show? We'll talk about it. What can I do for you? I'd love to help you out. Here's an image in case you're just unsure of this story. I know it's been getting a lot of coverage. But first, here's an image after the race. So that's Lia Thomas on the left. That's Emma. Was it Watson? Was it Emma Watson? No, not Watson. Emma Weyant. Sorry, Emma Weyant. Emma Watson is in Harry Potter or something. Different Emma. But okay, so there's Lia Thomas, the supposed winner, women's winner of this thing. And there's, of course, Emma in the middle. There's the third place finisher on the right. Do you think maybe there's a biological problem? Am I a bigot or a racist or a Nazi for saying that maybe there's a biological problem? And if you want to see how this is all connected to the media and how they lie about everything and push a narrative, NBC News covered this story. And look at the image that they put up. This is really, really extraordinary. We're going to get it in just a second. I think we've got it. These are the same people who are constantly telling you that people are exactly the same. The image on the left right there is the image that NBC News used on their report. You can see it is heavily airbrushed to take away a lot of the male features, the strong features of the nose and the eyes and the mouth. I mean, look what they did there. That looks like it's Instagram airbrushed, which girls use on Instagram to usually make their eyes look bigger and their skin softer and everything else. The image on the right is the unedited image. So NBC News ran this story and decided for the narrative of the story, we are going to make the guy, the woman with a penis who won first place, we are going to make he or she, whatever you want to say. In this case, I'm going to say he. And if they're going to boot me off YouTube, it's ridiculous. But a guy should not be winning a woman's swimming race. It's just as simple as that. And that has nothing to do with bigotry and hatred. And you all know it, including you weirdo YouTube censors who are watching this right now, just waiting, and you freaks at Media Matters. One more time. Put it up, the image one more time. So just know that NBC put that image up on the left. If they were honest, if NBC was honest, if journalists were honest, would they be airbrushing the image to make him look more like a her? I think not. But actually, if you do want to take care of your skin, this is my greatest segue ever. I want to talk to you guys about Chamonix. You know, if you have red, inflamed, blotchy, uneven skin tone, Lia Thomas has some of that, actually. It can be a struggle for all of us. And what about fine lines, forehead wrinkles, and under-eye puffiness? Well, Lia Thomas has some of that. The only solution has been abrasive, irritating products with retinol, until now. Thanks to Genucel's new Ultra Retinol Cream, see all of the skin-healing benefits of retinol and the hydrating effects of hyaluronic acid without harsh irritation. We should do it before and after of Lia right here. Genucel's retinol alternative cream uses clinical concentrations of a natural alternative to correct red inflamed skin, visibly reduce wrinkles, and even out skin tone. Made for sensitive skin, it's effective hydration for all skin types and perfect for both men and women. This incredibly powerful anti-wrinkle treatment is packed with a blend of natural ingredients that gives your skin all the benefits of retinol without any of the unwanted irritation. Go to Genucel.com/Dave right now for up to 50% off the brand new Ultra Retinol Cream. You will be amazed with the results or your money back. You'll also get Genucel's immediate effects for results in 12 hours or less free with your order. That's an $89 value. Go to Genucel.com/Dave. That's GENUCEL.com/Dave. Free express shipping, free returns, exquisite customer service. Genucel.com/Dave. Genucel.com/Dave. And now back to me. Okay. You see what I'm doing on the show today, people? Because you're a wise audience. You guys are like the reverse MSNBC people. There are people right now watching MSNBC getting dumber. There are people right now watching The View, right, with those insane harpies, and they're becoming dumber and more racist. Actually, right now, you're watching this, and we're all learning a little something, and we're doing it together. Well, you know what? Not only has Ron DeSantis defended schools and teachers and parents. He's defending teachers, honestly, too, because the teachers are being indoctrinated by the administrations and by other teachers and everything else. So he's defending schools, he's defending parents, he's defending young girls when it comes to swimming and athletics and everything else. But now let's back up to some of the other things that he's done over the last 2 years, okay? Because he's done an awful lot. While we have watched most of our blue states, and specifically the blue cities, I mean, New York, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, you guys know all the drill. While we watch them be destroyed during BLM riots and through Antifa activities and everything else, Ron DeSantis decided to fund the police here in Florida, and not just fund them, but fund them and then some.
I asked the legislature in this legislative session, we need to do bonuses for law enforcement. Someone to fund. Some wanted to fund the police. We're funding the police and then some.
And then some, yeah. So you know what's happening right now? There are police officers literally from all over the country. Good, decent, hardworking police officers who just want to uphold the law. They are moving to Florida right now. And that will make Florida safer, and it will make the other places less safe. Because here, if you're a police officer, you're going to be respected by the administration, by your citizens, and everything else. So he did the reverse of what the machine told him to do, right? And then what has happened subsequently? As these cities and states have crumbled, and you see all the videos, we've shown you all the videos of all the crime and all over the cities and the states. I actually saw one in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles yesterday with a bunch of guys that just break into a jewelry store, broad daylight, tons of people on the street. They break in, grab a whole bunch of stuff. They stole $3 to $5 million worth of jewelry in the middle of the day. They have not been caught as of last I heard a few minutes before we started this thing. So here in Florida, we will have a well-funded, slick operation. And I have a lot of friends that are in the NYPD from my old New York days and through some other connections. They've had it. I mean, they really hated Bill de Blasio, and they're not loving this Eric Adams guy. And it's like, hey, come on down to Florida, and Ron DeSantis will find a job for you, and you'll be paid better and treated better and everything else. So, okay, so we went after Biden and the administration on policing. I just compared that with what DeSantis is doing here. But it's not just that. On the border crisis, you know what's happening. You know what's happening in Texas. We showed you video. People are just walking over. It is worse than it has ever been. Well, DeSantis is going to make sure that we take care of our border here in Florida.
There was a letter that was recently sent by the governors of Texas and Arizona seeking mutual aid, which we do all the time in instances of emergency. These states have sent Florida support when we've responded to emergencies here in our state, and they wanted support so that they could do what the federal government is either unwilling or unable to do: secure the border and protect the people, not just of their states, but of the entire country, because of the nationwide impact that has. And so today, we're here to announce that the state of Florida is answering the call. Florida is going to support Texas and Arizona. We believe that securing the southern border is important for our country, but specifically, we believe it'll benefit the people of Florida to be able to get this under control. And so where the federal government has failed, the states are stepping up.
Think how extraordinary that is, right? Florida is mostly surrounded by water. We're a big peninsula. You've seen the map, right? Yet he is helping these other states that need help because the federal government is in complete dereliction of their duty. But I would even say it's worse than that. They are intentionally trying to collapse our system. That is what I have come to. That is the conclusion. And there's a beauty in what he also said there, which is that the states will do what the federal government won't. That is what the original founding documents were set up to do. Federalism, the states are supposed to do most of the stuff. And if that has ever become more clear, I mean, it has never been more clear than it is right now. Here's a beautiful moment. So, they send all these immigrants in through Texas, but then once they get through Texas, then they start bouncing through all these other states, and then you don't know where they're settled. You don't know if they have COVID while we're locking down our people with COVID, but you don't have to come in with a mask. They come in through Mexico, but are they Haitians or from the Middle East or whatever? And by the way, nothing that I'm discussing right now and nothing that Ron DeSantis said had anything to do with bigotry or racism or anything else. A country either has borders or not. You either have laws or you don't. This is basic, simple stuff. There used to be an orange man who said that. I forget what happened to him. But here is what DeSantis said we will do if they send illegal immigrants here to Florida.
If they're going to come here, we'll provide buses and provide them. I will send them to Delaware and do that. I mean, if he's not going to support the border being secured, then he should be able to have everyone there. So we will do whatever we can in that regard, and we are absolutely going to do everything we can.
I mean, how freaking great. Send them to Delaware, get the buses, send them to Biden's house. I'm not kidding. Just send them to Biden's house in Delaware. Let them be in Delaware and hang out there, but they can't be here. And that has nothing to do with racism or anything else. I live in South Florida. I live in the Miami area. You hang out with 10 people, you're going to hear 87 languages, okay? That is the beauty of this place. And by the way, many of the people that live here are Venezuelan and Cuban. They often come from places where communism and socialism and collectivism was tried, and they are the most freedom-loving people you will ever meet. So I love this idea. Send them to Delaware. We need to clone DeSantis. That really is where we're at. Where are we at with human cloning? Can you guys Google that for me? I know we can clone dogs now. We did Dolly. They might be doing it in China. Okay. We need to clone the guy. All right, so let's move on. So now we're talking about the border as well, and you can see that there's a stark difference between the Biden administration and what DeSantis is doing here related to the border and how he's actually helping other states concerning the border. But also, we're having some economic problems. Have you heard about that? Have you tried to get gas recently? Have you noticed about inflation? Are you trying to build a house or get any raw materials, and 2x4s cost 10 times what they did literally a year and a half ago? Well, DeSantis is also trying to figure out, well, how can we protect ourselves while the federal government does all sorts of crazy things related to inflation? And now the Biden administration is talking about a digital dollar, which kind of sounds cool because that has something to do with crypto and Bitcoin or something. But DeSantis can see through the curtain.
And there's a difference between a decentralized digital currency, cryptocurrency like a Bitcoin, and what some are talking about doing at the federal level to convert U.S. dollars into basically a digital currency. I think there's a lot of hazards with that when that's centrally controlled. I worry about the amount of power that would give someone in a central authority to basically be able to shut off access to purchasing certain goods. We'd be in uncharted territories, and we've seen how some of these financial institutions acting at the behest of government can cut people off. Can you imagine if the federal government actually controlled whether you could even go in? So I know Biden issued an executive order. I'm very concerned about that, and I think it's something that we need to be watching.
It's the fundamental difference between decentralization and centralization. What the left seems to want, what the communists, I mean, there's just no point in calling them anything else. The Democrats, they're Democrats. I don't know what makes them Democrats anymore. What the Democrats, socialists, whatever they are, what they want is a centralized system, because in a centralized system, somebody makes the decision and they're above you. They're the elites, they're above you, and they tell you how to live. What freedom-loving people want is exactly what Ron DeSantis said right there, which is you want a decentralized system because that's bottom up. That allows people to exchange goods and services with each other, hopefully for the benefit of both. And from that, you can build not only, it starts with individuals, but then you can hopefully build families and communities and all of those things, and then states and everything else. So when Biden says that we want, perhaps in the United States, a digital dollar, it sort of sounds right. It's like, oh, well, there's something about Bitcoin and crypto and digital dollar. It sounds right. But as DeSantis correctly points out, if it's centralized, that means they can just cut you off at any moment. That means they can shut down your wallet at any moment. Remember what happened in Canada a few weeks ago when they were going after the bank accounts of the truckers? Think how dangerous it would be if we have a digital dollar and then you protest the government, and then all the government has to do, some government lackey bureaucrat, adios amigo, your money is gone. And guess what? It's going to get funneled back into the system and we're all going to get a cut. The big guy does get his 10%. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be really, really careful of this. And I suspect that Florida will continue to figure out new innovative ways to work on the crypto side. I mean, we know that Mayor Suarez down here in Miami, I mean, he's leading a revolution. An actual revolution, a digital revolution is happening right here in Miami. It's awesome. It's why we moved locals down here and Rumble moved to Sarasota. And it's a beautiful thing. But the other part of all of the economic mess that we have right now is that the price of gas is bananas. It's completely insane. I was in LA early last week. It was $7.50 for regular unleaded. We showed you the picture a couple days ago about diesel somewhere in California, now $9.99 a gallon. Again, this isn't the type of thing you need me to explain to you. Just go to your local gas station. Is gas much higher or not? And by the way, it was going way higher before the Russia thing. So everyone keeps saying, oh, no, this is Russia's fault, as if our administration has no control over our economy whatsoever. It's all Russia. Russia can do whatever they want to us whenever they want. Just simply untrue. But, Biden says that no matter how much money we pour into the economy, it doesn't affect inflation. And, there's not much we can do about gas prices, and everyone should get a Tesla. Well, he doesn't want you to get a Tesla, actually, because he doesn't like Elon Musk. He wants you to get like a GM electric car, even though the GM Volt, remember the GM Volt that the government poured hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars to, it failed. They don't produce those cars anymore. But Ron DeSantis is taking the opposite approach. He is actually trying to give people a tax holiday. He is saying, we don't want your money as citizens. You guys are struggling because of the idiotic policies of the federal government. Well, we're going to give you an actual tax holiday to alleviate some of the pain.
Inflation is an invisible tax on Floridians. It represents a pay cut for individuals and for families alike. And one of the ways families have felt the pinch has been in significantly higher gas prices. To help alleviate this burden for Florida families, I'm proposing a $1 billion gas tax holiday to help reduce prices at the pump. If Washington, D.C. won't change course, then we have a responsibility to step up on behalf of our Floridians.
That's a governor. That's a chief executive of a state. President, you're a buffoon. Your policies are ridiculous. I'm going to do what I can for my people. Okay, so let's continue. We've been laying out a case here. So we've compared and contrasted Biden on schools, on gender, on border, on the economy. But it's not just that. It's also even foreign policy. Now, the governor of a state shouldn't have that much to do with foreign policy, right? He is the chief executive of a state. His job is to make sure that whatever state he's in charge of is going right in that state. You can chime in occasionally about foreign policy, obviously. You have free speech. You can say whatever you want. But technically, you shouldn't have to say that much about foreign policy. But we are now living in a time where it is very obvious that our administration not only is screwing everything up, again, either intentionally or not, everyone can make their own judgment call on that, but that nothing that they say is true. So it's impossible to have any moral clarity, even in a case when a country like Russia invades another sovereign nation like Ukraine. So we just get these ridiculously muddled messages from the administration. And, we're not going to war. We're not going to make this thing World War III, but we're going to fund those guys and we're going to give them weapons. And maybe we're going to talk about a no-fly zone and we're going to do all the sanction stuff and everything else, yada, yada, yada. But how about some clarity on the Putin guy? Ron DeSantis, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a guy who's basically an authoritarian gas station attendant, okay, with some legacy nuclear weapons from the old Soviet Union. Their whole society is hollowed out except for that energy. And so if you want to hit them at the gas pump, hit them with energy.
Yeah, you hit him with energy. Maybe say if you were president, the first thing that you don't do when you're sworn in is cancel the Keystone XL pipeline and the 800,000 barrels of oil that we could have been getting a day from Western Canada. Yes, I know some of the oil still comes through and it comes through trains and everything else. But the point is we had opportunities to open this pipeline. It was going to happen. It was happening under Trump. We showed you video a week or two ago of the premier of Alberta, Canada, talking about what a great opportunity it could have been and that they've got excess energy and it would have created, I think, 10,000 Canadian jobs on top of everything else. So yes, some energy independence might be good, but it's not really the route that the Democrats want to go because, you know, they've got AOC's Green New Deal. God, I'm getting brain damage from that woman. Okay. So you see the case. We're laying out the case. Now I just threw in some stuff about energy and gas, and we talked about gender, and we talked about schooling, and we talked about borders. But now let's move on to COVID. You may remember COVID. Do you guys remember COVID? You guys? He doesn't remember COVID. No, nobody in this room remembers COVID. But all right, so there was a thing a while back, COVID, where suddenly they wanted us to wrap our faces in things and hide from people and stay away from people and stay at a bunker and not go to work. You were allowed to go out if you wanted to destroy businesses. It was a real messy time. I don't know. We'll do more on it soon. But not everyone went completely insane during COVID. Florida didn't go completely insane. And this Ron DeSantis guy who I've been talking about on today's show, he fought the power. He fought the power that was demanding everyone close up, everyone mask up, everyone be forced to be vaccinated, and a whole bunch more. Here he is railing against the CDC and Biden because they're suddenly doing everything that Ron's been doing for the last 2 years.
These kids are so much happier being able to go to school without having to wear masks for 8 hours a day. So when you start to see them kind of reevaluate or say all this, just understand this. The science didn't change. Well, the medical science didn't change. The political science changed. They feel the heat. They know that voters have been tired of perpetual lockdown policies. They know that they have basically offered no off-ramp, and they know that they're fixing to get whooped at the polls. And so that's what's causing the epiphany. But the fact of the matter is, if they had looked at the actual science from the beginning, they would have known that this was something that Florida was right on.
Yeah, and we've shown you plenty of videos of our Surgeon General here in Florida, Latipo, who is not only a great guy who DeSantis hired in the midst of all of this, but he happens to be a youngish black man. And if he was a lefty, he'd be on the cover of Newsweek and Time Magazine and everywhere else. But because he's a scary right-winger, because, you know, these right-wingers always demanding freedom and letting you live freely, you probably don't know who he is, although we talk about him here. But that line, the medical science didn't change. The political science changed because they're now just doing all of the stuff that Ron DeSantis was doing the entire time. And in case it's not clear, guys, as a new Floridian, someone that's been here for, 2.5, 3 months at this point, I live in a different country than when I lived in dystopian California. And you know what? I just mentioned dystopian California. I haven't put any money in the jar lately. This is the Escape Cali Fund. I will be giving a couple $1,000 to somebody who wants to leave California at the end of the year and move to Florida. I'm going to put in 10 for this. You know, I feel good. And I'm going to throw in a bunch of extra money at the end of the year. And I want you to escape, and I want you to bring your family and your resources and everything else down to Florida and help us build a great state, which we've already got a great state, but I want you to help keep it great. DeSantis also has called out the ridiculous, hypocritical politicians of the last 2 years because all of these absolutely clownish buffoons, AOC partying in Miami Beach, right? But if you make fun of her for partying in Miami Beach, she says it's just because you want to have sex with her. AOC, I do want to be clear about something. I do not, and I repeat, I do not want to have sex with you, okay? It's very important you understand that. I do not, there's the clip for today's show, okay? I do not want to have sex with AOC. but a bunch of them, right? Eric Swalwell was down here. Gretchen Whitmer was down here. These people were locking down their own constituents while they partied in Florida, the place that they were saying was run by a bigot and a Nazi and a right-wing maniac and all of that stuff. And then they came down here to be unmasked. AOC, probably the worst of all of them, because she went to a bar. It happened to have been a drag bar in Miami Beach. And she's got just tons of people around her and they're fawning over her like the golden calf. It's really disgusting. And she literally had kids locked down and still in masks in New York while she did it. Well, DeSantis ain't taking it from these people either.
Big city mayors, and I'll tell you, and anchor some of these leftist TV hosts who constantly criticize Florida, mandate masks, lock down all this stuff. Then they end up on the beach somewhere in South Florida. I'll tell you, one of the things I'm proud, though, is like our Floridians, they give these people hell when they see them down here because they're proud of our freedom, and they know these people have been bad-mouthing. The cherry on the sundae was when you had over New Year's, you had AOC coming down, criticizing Florida, then comes down. So we decided to make kind of a little joke about it. So we created T-shirts that said, Escape to Florida, the Lockdown Liberal Tour. And instead of having concert dates on the back, we had Governor Whitmer, March of 2021, AOC, and the dates they were all in Florida. And we sold more outside the state than we sold here, because people realize how hypocritical these people are.
This is how you win. You guys get it? And it's not about winning for winning's sake. It's winning for freedom's sake. It's winning to save freaking America, which is hanging on by a thread. But we can do it. And everyone watching this, whatever state you're in, get this video to your governor so they get some balls. Here's Ron DeSantis just kind of recapping the whole thing. So this is video from a couple months ago. But he's just recapping like a whole bunch of stuff that Biden has done wrong about everything. Afghanistan, border, masking kids, and a whole bunch more.
Not only that, he was on vacation. They had to ply him off of vacation to give a kind of a half-cocked statement on camera. Like you said, wasn't taking questions. Then he goes back on vacation, and he is obsessed. While you have all the stuff going on with Afghanistan, obviously all the stuff at the southern border, which you and I have talked about, one of the biggest border disasters in the history of our country, inflation, gas prices. And what does he do? He is obsessed with having the government force kindergartners to wear masks all day in school. In Florida, we believe that that's the parents' decision. Joe Biden thinks the federal government should come in and overrule the parents and force these young kids to wear these masks. And you got to wonder, where are your priorities that you're so obsessed with this issue and so obsessed with taking away parents' rights, and you're letting Afghanistan burn, our border burn, and so many other things in our country fall to pieces?
All right, so that was DeSantis months ago, just kind of recapping a bunch of the things that I've talked about here. But, you know, as I lay out this case, as the prosecutor of the Biden administration and the defense attorney, let's say, for Ron DeSantis, even though he doesn't need my defense, the guy's defending himself and he's doing it right, and he has incredible staff behind him that they're just doing it right. The messaging is right. They're hitting, they're on the attack. They take no bullshit from the media, all of that stuff. But as I lay out this case, I am also acting here as the judge. And a judge would say, well, I'd like to see all the information. You know what I mean? This is maybe has seemed a little slanted, almost. You know, what do you don't like Biden? You play all these clips of DeSantis? You don't like Biden? Give me a Biden clip so that it'll even this freaking thing out. Biden must be a good guy. Biden must really care about America and not sort of handing over America's power. Biden wouldn't want to usher in some sort of weird thing, say like a new world order thing. That's crazy talk.
You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
All right, the choice is yours. The choice is yours, America, not just Florida. The choice is yours, America. You can either elect leaders who will defend the way of life we have come to know, the way of life that all of our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, and in many cases even before that, came to this place to build a better life, and they freaking did it. And we're giving it away. So you can either follow Joe Biden down through his New World Order, and when I say Joe Biden, you're not really following Joe Biden, you're following whoever's in charge of Joe Biden, or you can follow the other guy that I talked about here. We've got a great cold close for you today because the hearing for the new Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is happening. And there was just an extraordinary moment that we're going to tease here at the end of the show today, and then we'll do a full coverage on that tomorrow. And she's sort of the perfect Biden nominee. But I want to get to a couple locals comments real quick. Amy says, the amazing Governor DeSantis just signed a law for a financial literacy requirement for high school graduates. I know, I saw it a minute before we started the show, which is why we didn't cover it. I am sure we will be told it's racist. It will, I mean, for sure, we will be told it's racist. If you say that high school graduates have to have the basic understanding of economics so that they can go out into the world, you will be called racist. But we will continue, and he will go on. I know, it's just more goodness. It's more goodness. Dragonhawk says, I still say that the female swimmers need to all refuse to race a biological male. They have to stop expecting everyone else to fix it for them. That's a really interesting concept, and it's very in line with the things that I believe. Like, you must fight for yourself. You cannot expect, if you're a young female swimmer, you cannot expect that the system will magically correct itself for you. Yes, Ron DeSantis did the right thing, and he signed this proclamation so that Emma is the winner, in effect, of the 500. But that's one piece of the fight. The other piece of the fight is what you can do. Whether you're a swimmer or the parent of a swimmer or you're a swimming coach, everyone knows this is wrong. And we're all afraid of something that we're not sure what it is. What are we really afraid of here? Are we really afraid that if you say the truth, that men and women are different? It's just how it is, right? It's just what biology and evolution has rung for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years and millions of years. They're different. Men had to go out and kill to bring the food home, and the women usually were home taking care of the kids, and that's just fine. And yet there are margins on both sides where sometimes you have men who are more caregivers and women who want to be out there more. But there still are fundamental differences, which is why Lia Thomas was 450th or so when she was a man or man was a... Jeff says, stark difference between Biden administration and any semblance of reality. Yeah. Maybe I'll just start calling the DeSantis administration the reality administration. It's just like reality here in Florida. It's just reality. And reality is better than whatever this fake, nonsensical BS that they're putting us through is going and happening right now. Guys, quick reminder before the cold close, daverubin.com/events. You can join me on tour. Dennis Prager will be joining me, Megyn Kelly, Blake Masters, Meghan McCain, Glenn Beck, Larry Elder, Benny Johnson, Michael Malice, Andrew Clavin. We got a couple other big names coming. It's just going to be awesome. We're opening this thing in Orlando. I wanted to do the first couple shows right here in Florida. Honestly, there was a point where I was telling my whole team I only want to tour in Florida, and they said, no, you must get out there. But we're going to add a bunch more dates. I know a lot of people are asking about Nashville specifically. We just couldn't work it on this first leg. But the book is out on April 12th. The tour begins April 18th right here in Florida, in Orlando, in Disney's shadow. We will be in Disney's shadow, but we're going to do it. If you want to play along during the show for the live chat, you can join us at rubinreport.locals.com. Part 1 of my interview with Judge Andrew Napolitano is up on YouTube and Rumble right now, and the full thing's up absolutely ad-free at Locals. And our cold close, ladies and gentlemen, which I think sort of fits perfectly with everything we've done today. So you have a good one, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.